Hello, everyone. Welcome, episode 214 of the Sideline podcast. Today, we're going to be strictly basketball. We're going to talk about the NBA trade deadline is this Thursday. We'll preview what we think, who's going to get moved, will Giannis actually be moved. We'll go over all those things coming up here shortly. Plus, we got UFC 325 to review. Big pay-per-view, or I guess numbered event. That's what we're going to call them now. Or from over the weekend, we'll let you know our thoughts about that. Plus, we'll go over our hometown team, Mason, of a big win over St. Bonnie's this past weekend. So, with all that being said, guys, stay tuned. And we're back. Let's start this off actually with Mason. Let's pit our hometown team on the map. We'll start them out for our very first segment. They played St. Bonaventure this past weekend. I believe it was on Saturday. Very, very ugly game to start. They somehow pulled the win out on the road. Jacob, you were boots on the ground in attendance for this one. What were your thoughts about this game?
Man, it was crazy. Shout out to St. Bonaventure. They filled their very small stadium. I think it was only a 5,400 capacity stadium, but I think it was alumni weekend, and they packed that thing up, and they were absolutely excited in there, and they stayed excited up until about 6 minutes left in the game because they got on Mason early, got on them often. They pretty much stayed on. It was pretty much an 8 to 10 point game for most of the first half, and the second half they got even up to 14. I think was at one point maybe 15. And Mason just kept chipping away and found a way to get it done. So it wasn't the prettiest game, but I was happy to see the green and gold get a nice road victory.
Yeah, for sure. Lawrence, I know you watched this game at home. What were your thoughts from and takeaways from this game?
Well, I think it's basically what we were just talking about. I think like the uses of Alan Spotch. I think Jacob brought it up. The fact that like if he's not on the court, the ball movement just kind of vanishes.
Mm-hmm.
And they have like these, I would call them like rotation players that they serve great purposes, but their games are pretty limited. Like when Conga comes in, he's only getting rebounds. Sometimes I feel like you can take him to the free throw line, and he won't make either one. Or he'll make one at best.
Yeah.
I think, as we were saying earlier, I think Troutman, and this is where Braden O'Connor, what you're just talking about, will come into play. But Braden O'Connor is going to come back from injury, and he's probably the one that Skin probably had envisioned dishing and distributing the ball. But I don't know, man. I feel like Troutman's just not that good either. But overall, I think it was like 5 minutes, 7 minutes left. They had a 3% chance to win the game, and they somehow did.
Yeah, it was not looking good for them. They were, I think at one point we're in the 90s percentile for St. Bonnie's winning, and then slowly crept up into Mason's favor. Yeah, I think I'm going to keep harping on it until they fix it. These slow starts are going to keep kicking them in the ass, really. I mean, they got to figure out a way to start the game fast. Doesn't necessarily mean you got to, come out to a 15-0 run or 20-0 run. You just got to be competitive. Don't fall behind by 10-plus points in these games, especially in conference play, where you're going to play these teams again, most likely. So they're just setting themselves up for failure with all these games they've been playing recently, especially on the road where they have a tendency to not play as well on the road. It's pretty obvious, but this pretty noticeable dip in performance from most of their key guys when they're on the road. I don't know what it is. Maybe you can chalk it up to nerves, but a lot of these guys are juniors and seniors, and they're transfers, so they have plenty of experience. I don't know why this is a pattern that we're seeing. I don't know if you guys have any thoughts about that.
I think it's mainly because the best players are younger. Like Alan Spotch is a junior, and Mincy's a junior. I think like Jahari Long makes like clutch plays, and he's the older one of the group. But like we were saying, like Troutman, he's just not that good. And he's one of those senior leaders. I think overall he's just not as good. And maybe if he was coming off the bench, yeah, maybe. I think Fat Hill is also a guy who's a sophomore. So I mean, he's coming off your bench, but he's a sophomore.
Yeah, that Hill is a senior.
Oh, I thought he was much younger.
Yeah, I mean, Jacob, I don't know if you have any thoughts about this. To me, it seems like it's the lineup. To me, it's the starting lineup is what's giving them these slow starts. I think Skin needs to maybe switch this thing on up.
Yeah, I think they come out stagnant. I don't know how much it is coaching, how much it is kind of like the preparation. I will say, like, we're talking about this, and this team is now 20-2.
Yeah.
So it is quite impressive that they're able to complete, a lot of these comebacks or a lot of these really bad first 10 minutes and then making it close at halftime and pulling away in the second half. But like you said, it's gonna come back to bite them, and they better get it fixed before they start, the tournament and more meaningful games down the line. And the road stuff's got to change too. It's an older team. You got to get going on the road. They got to fix that.
Yeah, 100% agree with that. They got to fix these road problems because you're gonna have to go to VCU. You're gonna have to go to St. Louis, and those are two teams that could give us problems. Really, pretty much any team in the A10 right now, the way we're playing, can give us problems. So things
Except
we got to work on. Okay, Richmond.
Richmond absolutely duped on Saturday too.
Yeah, I think they said Richmond has lost 5 straight or something like that.
Yep.
I don't think we're afraid of but we almost did just lose to a 2-7 St. Bonnie's. So let's not talk high right now. We're only 65th in the metric rankings. We're still somehow behind VC, who's 52. Go figure that one. Even though they have one quad 1 win.
That's my next segue, Lawrence. How do you feel about? Do you think it's another snub this week in the AP top 25? Mason still not in that conversation.
I think they did get snubbed. I know someone released one, but I've been seeing recently of bracketologies and consistently GMU's going back and forth from being a first 4 in to a first 4 out, back and forth, which is absolutely mind-boggling to me because one of the teams they had on there, I believe, was 14 and 8 or something like that, and I'm just looking at that like, in what realm should we be in the same category? We should at least be confidently enough in there. I don't think there should be any questioning of that.
Do you think they should take more emphasis into like the team statistics too? Because Mason's pretty high up there when you compare, team defense and stuff like that. I don't see why they're not getting as much notice as, of course, these Power 5s, Power 4s.
I think it really comes down to the fact that we can't hit threes. I think there's, I think they're just waiting for us to collapse because if you watch every game, like, we aren't in it for 10 to 15 minutes of the whole 40 multiple times. I think I think it's just them trying to look us out the door. Because you have teams. Let's see. I'm trying to figure out the new bracketologies here and find some of the other teams that we're talking about. We're competing against. Okay, so first 4, we're talking about USC. First off, USC is pretty ass. I've watched them get crushed by, Iowa, and then we're going to say, oh, well, that's a good Big Ten team. It doesn't matter when you watch them get crushed. I watched Michigan beat them by 30. I've seen Michigan State beat them by 30. So you want to put a Big Ten team in there just because they're playing some good talent and they're 6-16 and they're 5-6 in the Big Ten, but you don't think that like when they go in the tournament and they play Kansas ain't going to beat them by 30. If Michigan beat them by 30, Kansas is probably going to beat them by 30. Now, who would you rather see get beat by 30? George Mason beat by 30 or USC beat by 30? Or you probably rather see USC get beat by 30 because at least people are going to tune in. And I think that's where the media people have to, like, the people who are taking the event, you got to take that out of the equation. With as much gambling that there is, and as much people who are just watching the NCAA tournament just because of the entity that it is, it doesn't matter who's going up there to play Michigan to lose by 30. And hell, I'd rather see George Mason go out there and lose by 30. I'm watching the game the other way. But you don't need to put a 16-6 bottom tier Big Ten team in there just because. I don't need to see them get beat by 30 again.
Hey, I agree for you when you're right.
Let them dance. Let them dance.
Hey, that's what I've been saying. Hey, they got a pretty good team this year. 3 straight seasons for Coach Skin, 20 plus wins. I say this is the season to let them dance. Why not, right?
Yeah,
Why not?
we currently sit at a 16% chance to make the tournament.
Ugh.
Oof.
They just got to win the big games coming up against St. Louis. I think we play VCU again, and I know like this is a conference that gets slept on, but like there's some good teams in there. I mean, the Bonaventures, they had the 2 of the top 5 scorers in the A10. It's like I know they don't have a good record, but they have good players on their team.
Yeah.
So like these games are tough, even against the the bottom dwellers in the middle. Big games against VCU and especially St. Louis. That's where you'll get your respect. And Mason has them on the schedule, so they got to show up for them. Keep taking care of business and get ready for those big games because I think that's definitely going to play a key in where they end up.
It looks like the game versus St. Louis is at home, so
Ooh, I like that.
that is a game we will have circled on the calendar for sure. Let's move on to the NBA. We got some trades that happened over the weekend. Plus, we got the trade deadline coming up, 3 p.m. Eastern on Thursday. I guess we can get into the trades. The one trade that happened, I think it was Saturday, 3-team trade with the Bulls, the Kings, and I believe, who was the third team? Was it I forgot who the third team was, but essentially, the Cavs. Keon Ellis and Keon Ellis and someone else goes to the Cavs. Hunter goes to the Kings, and the Bulls get 2 seconds out of it. I don't know if you
Schroeder, Dennis Schroeder.
Yeah, whatever. I think they said he's tied for second for the most in-season trades of all time, and he needs one more to tie the record.
Probably. I could definitely see him get moved again.
Oh yeah, that boy stays getting traded. Ain't nobody want him, man.
I could see him getting traded next year, but I think the reason they traded for him is just because they don't know how Garland's going to come back, and he hasn't come back prosperous yet.
Yeah, this Cavs team, they went on a pretty big losing streak. They had a lot of injuries. Max Strus still has not played this year. Merrill still hurt. I mean, they got a lot of guys hurt. Garland's been in and out, so they're trying to trade Lonzo. The Cavs, this team is in a little bit of a predicament. Do we still think they're contenders this year, even with all the things they're going through?
I don't.
I
think I said this before, but I don't think they're contenders when they still have the Twin Towers.
Yeah, that's a point me and Lawrence have been pushing for the past. What would you say, Lawrence? 2 years? 2 years,
since we started. Yeah, 2 years.
Jacob is that this idea of Mobley and Garland working together is just. We just haven't seen it. And after last year when Allen literally quit halfway through the series, they still decided to keep that duo together. I don't know what's going through their head with that. I don't know why they're trying to force the thing to work when we've seen repeated failures. I don't know if you have any thoughts about that.
I agree. And I think Mobley's, obviously he's young and he's been really, really good. So I think Jared Allen would probably have trade value. I mean, there's a ton of teams looking for centers. I can think of a couple just off the top of my head. So Jared Allen would be coveted in this league. Brother dropped 40 last night, so he's just so he can play. I think, like you said, they both kind of take away from each other's games a little bit. I know Mobley's kind of more of an outside, kind of guy, but I kind of agree, and I think the Cavs could do more. And I also think that a guy like Donovan Mitchell, I don't want to say wasting because that's kind of harsh, but these are the prime years of his career, and Buddy's still got it, but I don't know if he has enough support around him to get all the way to the finals. And even if they did get to the finals, congratulations, here's the Oklahoma, here's the OKC Thunder.
Yeah.
You're gonna lose. So that's best case scenario for them if they get that far. But I don't know. The East is weird, but I don't trust them.
Yeah, they're in a weird spot with kind of this top-heavy roster, and they're in the second apron, so that kind of restricts what moves they do. So I don't know. It's hard to see them really coming out the East this year. They dug themselves too deep of a hole. I'm certain to say that. The second trade we got here, Blazers trade for this Vit guy. He's been dropping some threes. Um, so I mean, I like it the for the Trailblazers. I mean, they're an upcoming team. They need shooting. They got a plethora of bigs. They got what Clinnigan. They got Time Lord. They got a bunch of bigs. They got Grant. I mean, they just got a lot of forwards. So they can open up the spacing on the floor. This might help them out. And I think what's his name, Scoot Henderson. He should be coming back soon too. So the Trailblazers might pop off here soon, even though they're kind of still a poverty franchise. I don't know if you guys have any thoughts.
Sounds like you have some resentment.
I ain't got no resentment, man. Hey, I'm wishing them the best.
I mean, they're in the play-in. You can't be faulting them too much, but I don't. I guess I think a bigger question would be what are y'all's thoughts of? Do you think that the West is already locked into place? Because if you look at it, like the Portland Trailblazers are 4 games ahead of the Mavericks. The Mavericks are not trying to make that playoffs because at this point, season's pretty much screwed. So you might as well try to get another young guy to go with Koopa. And then the Memphis Grizzlies are in turmoil, so they're going to probably trade Ja. So then they might get even worse. They could have somehow get better, but the Jazz ain't trying to win. The Pelicans ain't trying to win. The Kings might be trying to win because they got DeAndre Hunter, but you're talking about these Portland Trailblazers, but like right now they're sitting in the playoffs, and all you got to do is beat the Clippers. I don't know how easy that is, but all you got to do is beat the Clippers. Then you got to beat Golden State twice right now. But thoughts?
I mean, Dallas is talented, so like Dallas could go on a run. I'm not saying that they can't, but I mean, if you want to make an argument, I can tell you, congratulations, you made the play-in. Win 2 games. Trust them to win 2 games. And if they do, congratulations. Here are the once again Oklahoma City Thunder, or maybe they get the 7. Here's Wemby and the Spurs. So good for Portland if they do make the playoffs. They're in the kind of a situation where even if they may, they're on a 5-game losing streak too. So it's not like they're a good team by any means. But hey, they've been better. They've been playing better. Dan's coming back next year. That'll only help. Denny's playing well. They're kind of a young, weird mix of some young guys with some guys that we know are established. But I mean, I'm not buying stock. No thanks.
Yeah, I'll let the Trailblazers do what the Trailblazers do. They're a young team. Let them learn. If they want to make the play-in, that's all good for them. But like Jacob said, congrats. You're going to face the Thunder in the first round. Get beat to hell, and then hope Dame at age 35, 36 is going to get you into the top 6 next year. Yeah, that's not really that's not really a formula for success in my eyes. But hey, more power to him. But yeah, Lawrence, I think the top 6 is pretty locked in. Maybe the Suns can overcome the Lakers, but then again, AR will come back at some point this week before the trade actually before All-Star break. So I think the Lakers will go on the run once AR comes back, and then we'll have a solidified top 6. The rest of the teams here, the Clippers, they're making a little run, but I don't really trust them. Paul George, we'll talk about him later, but Sixers. What am I going with? Paul George's not on the Clippers anymore, but the Warriors without Jimmy Butler, I think unless they trade for Giannis, they're gonna fall into that bottom feeder category as well. So I don't really see much changing in the West. And if we go to the East, the Sixers they might tumble a little bit with Paul George serving his 25-game suspension. That's where I was trying to segue into for PED usage, violating the league's anti-drug policy. How do you guys feel about this and how it affects the Sixers?
Well, they're cheeks half the nights anyways. I don't think it changes a whole lot. The Sixers weren't going anywhere. Trade deadline wise, it could. I think there's assets on their team that they probably don't want to get rid of, but they could, try to use it to. I don't know. I feel like an odd thing to say right now, but not because I feel like Maxey low-key could be dealt.
Whoa.
And it's probably because the 76ers suck, and I'm just going to keep bearing the fact that they suck. This one's pretty much tanked because Paul George is gone.
We're acting like Paul George is an all-star. Like he was having
Um,
a season.
Embiid is not having a season that is anything to remember about. He's also injured every other game at this point.
He just dropped 40.
But he's playing well. He's averaging 26.
Okay, he's played 28 out of 46 games. Oh my God, he's played just barely over halfway. Woo!
Fair enough.
What do you need to be excited about? I mean, one of the best players right now is currently Quentin Grimes in terms of usage. Is that something supposed to be awesome to me? No, these 76ers suck. I bet you the Hornets by the end of the season catch them and overtake them. I'm gonna follow Barkley on that one. I think the 76ers seriously might blow it up at the end of the season.
Wow, that's a bold statement.
And it's either going to be Embiid that gets blown up and sent somewhere because they're finally done with his bullshit because he can't play a game, or they say that he's still the god that they love and pray to, so they're going to send out Maxey, one or the other. Or they're going to try to run it back again next year, and everyone just pisses off because they don't care because they only care about the paycheck. I'm talking about Embiid.
Okay, Jacob.
I think the ladder's mostly what's going to happen, I think. But I was going to say, like, because you started that and I agreed with you. But then the surprising player that I thought really, really that they could deal and should deal would be Embiid because he's finally at least back on the court. Like, I know you're going to say he's only played half the games. That's an improvement for Embiid. That's an amazing thing for the NBA that he's finally back on the court dropping 40 because he's one of the better players when he's healthy. And, like, I think they're being smart. Obviously, you want to see him play more games. But I think right now the Sixers have to realize he gets hurt one more time and is out another extended period. There is zero trade value with him. If you say, hey, right now, can I get a solid return, like some young players, some good picks for Embiid, and then let the next team deal with it? I think Embiid should be the one that Philadelphia should really consider trading. I see no rumors. I don't think it's going to happen. Maxey's like 24, 25. You can't trade him.
Yeah, you can't trade him. Yep.
So, like, I think the Embiid one makes sense because if you don't trade him and he gets hurt again, it's gone. His value is at one point, one of the best players in the league. Is no shot. So I think that would be a better avenue, but I also think that they're just going to go into the offseason and run it back with PG and everybody will bring it back together. So,
yeah, I agree. I think you got to move off Embiid if you can. Trade value is probably not going to get any higher than this. That contract is terrible. They probably, if I was Daryl Morey, I would regret giving him that extension. It's looking very, very bad from the, every day that passes. So, you got to move up off him. You're not going to move off of Maxey. He's on a, rookie max extension. He's a first-time All-Star. He's probably going to be All-NBA first team. Like, you don't move off a guy like that, especially when you have pieces around him. You can still at least be somewhat contenders. So I don't think you do that. But it should be interesting to see how far they go. If they don't slide too much, can they make a late-season push with an anti-drugged-up Paul George?
It's also kind of surprising too, because like Paul George's been around for a long time, like has a podcast. Like, some people make fun of him playoff P, but like the fact that he just popped for steroids is kind of hilarious because it's like, man, no one would have saw it coming from Paul George. But hey, who can expect anything out of the NBA nowadays?
This is very true, very true. Last but not least, the biggest question coming out of this week: will Giannis get traded? What are the odds, guys? Do you think he's going to get traded? What are the percentages you have it at this point? With I think we got under 3 days left. Jacob, we'll start with you.
I'm gonna go yes plus 300.
Sorry.
I still kind of feel like it's not gonna happen. I saw the T-Wolves are big in on it now. I think it's too complicated to do in season.
Yep.
If it did happen, it'd be awesome because it'd be something to talk about for a while. But I don't know. Maybe I'm just pessimistic. I would love it if it happened anywhere he went. It'd be fun. But I'm gonna say 3-1. He doesn't get traded.
I think for too many teams, his asking price is probably, or their asking price for him is too high. Because you got to remember, the year after he's got one more year on his contract, and he's got a player option. I think after that, so he could just leave you after a year. And if I throw apart my team for a guy that's just going to leave me because it didn't work out once I threw it all away to get him, I mean, outside of like Golden State, I don't see anyone throwing away their team. Like Golden State's only throwing it away because they don't have anything. Jimmy's gone. There's the mass of the money that would make the contract work. Here's Kuminga, and here's some picks that we don't care about, and we'll try to run it like we still have it. I mean, if you're Minnesota, you really don't have anything to trade for. I mean, you give up too many pieces that you don't want to get rid of. I don't see it happening. I think it's going to be one of those things that it's going to be teams meeting with Giannis in a year from now instead.
Yeah.
Yeah, I give a 50-50 shot at this point. There hasn't really been any movement. We've seen the kind of reshuffling of teams being mentioned. I feel like every day is a new team as a front runner or a new team that's intriguing. It's really just the Bucks at this point trying to, I guess, bait teams to give up more. They're using the Warriors offer as kind of this standard, even though we know that the Warriors offer isn't that good. 4 picks that probably won't be good. Maybe one of them will be good once Steph retires and it's just Giannis if he does end up going there, which that's not really enticing. And, what are you going to do with Kuminga? No one wants Kuminga really besides the Kings, and we know how we feel about the Kings, all right? So that's not saying too much. So Warriors packages and all that, but using them as the standard as, hey, we want 4 first-rounders at the very least, I think it's what holding this thing up. So unless the Bucks, I guess, are content with 2 or 3 first-rounders, which I think teams can meet, like Miami or maybe Toronto, I feel like it'll get done. Else, it's probably going to head into the summer. I'm not too sure how Giannis is going to feel about that. I think a lot of what's floating around today is that he wants to get moved by the deadline. And I think he really only has 2 preferred teams, maybe 3, if you want to count the Raptors, but I think it's basically New York or Miami. And even New York kind of threw their hat out the race today, saying they love their team and they think they can win with their current group. So it's really just down to Miami and Golden State, really, the 2 legitimate teams. And the Bucks are kind of shopping the Warriors offer around. So that tells you all you need to know about how they feel about the Golden State offer. So we'll have to see.
How excited would you be, Markel, if you went to the Heat? Scale of 1 to 20.
Man, we'll go 23, man. We'll go to 23. I mean, I hope it happens, but I understand the Bucks. If this is your franchise guy, like you probably won't draft another one for a very long time. I get why you're being picky, unlike the Dallas Mavericks, but get all you can from them. Hey, I won't hold you if you don't want to trade them. I would do the same thing.
Yeah. Yep. That team's broken, though. I don't know if you've seen any Bucks games. They look like absolute shit, man. I watched the 2026 Washington Wizards beat them the other night.
Oh, my God. I bet on the Wizards that night.
It's crazy.
And then the Wizards proceeded to have Luka drop a triple-double at halftime on them the next day.
They got all their winning energy out at once. And they had none left for another 2 weeks, hopefully.
They had none left. Last but not least, we got the UFC 325. The second back-to-back numbered event, back-to-back weekends here. What were your guys' thoughts on this card?
Lawrence, you want to go top down, or start at the first part of the main card and go up?
First fight of the main card and go up.
Cool. So we talked about it last week. Super prospect, Quillen Salkeld, just coming off a devastating knockout, and of course, I think his odds to get a knockout were like minus 130. And of course, just like it works, he gets a quick first round submission.
Yeah, that was some shit. I had him by knockout in like 2 parlays. Those things all died. I was so disappointed in him too. Like you didn't have to submit him. You could have just kept punching him in the face and it would have worked.
Yeah, he definitely looked really good. I think before the fight when they interviewed him, he said he was willing to take this fight anywhere. And as soon as the fight started, it looked pretty obvious he wanted to get that to the ground, and it made it look easy. So props to the kid. I think he's 3-0 now with 3 finishes, so good for him.
The next one, Talison. Oh my God.
Teixeira?
To talk about what you were saying earlier with Tula or Ty, because he just couldn't punch him anymore because he was too fat and had no cardio. Oh my God.
This fight was ugly.
It was pretty bad.
It was bad.
I think like you said, Ty's got to hang it up. And I don't want to hear anyone tell me that Tallis is or Teixeira is any good. Like, there's a reason why Derek Lewis knocked him out pretty cold. Anytime he's going to fight anyone with like good knockout power with basic cardio, not like good cardio, like basic cardio, they're knocking him out.
Yeah, that boy is 6'7", but he definitely left his chin up there and was wobbled a lot.
I mean, he was wobbling, asking to get knocked out, but homeboy just didn't have it in him. He'd rather lay on top of him. So, is what it is.
Yeah,
that's heavyweight UFC right there.
And then you hit a crisscross applesauce in the corner. And they said it was plus 700 to go to decision.
Yeah, because of course it just had to. Yeah, that's things like that are why we love the sport and hate the sport at the same time.
And then Rufy looked really good. Yeah, we got to give him that. He looked pretty damn good.
Yeah, Fiziev came out, and I thought he looked good early, and then Rufy just started tracking him down, and
it was the reach advantage.
Yeah, he looked much bigger out there, and after a disappointing loss to BSD, who we'll talk about in a minute, I think this Rufy cat is in a kind of tough and loaded lightweight division. He's going to be a contender for a long time.
You said tough and loaded, but then right above we got Dan Hooker.
Unfortunately, Dan Hooker
he's still in the top 5.
Yeah. For no reason, Dan Hooker is ranked. Absolutely got destroyed once again. Never want to see it, but here we are. Dan Hooker is starting to turn into the gatekeeper, it feels like.
I think he is the gatekeeper at this point.
Yeah.
He's going to go on his Neil Magny run. And then, I mean, I thought the main event was top notch. I think through the wrapping up by Volk in round 5 when he basically had Lopez and a walls of Jericho and was just sitting on his face, ass in front of his face. Was pretty much the sublimation of the fight. It's like anytime Lopez got anything going, Volk just said, "Oh, let's slow down, buddy," and then just took the control immediately back. And recently we've seen Volk get kind of wobbled or that scare that he might get knocked. I don't think I had that fear one time. I think Volk was complete in control the whole time. And then when someone left it a 50-45, once I heard the 50-45, at first I was like, nah, Lopez got that second round. But then, if you pay attention after the second round, Lopez's face was beat up. Volkanovski didn't even look like he got in a fight.
Didn't Lopez break both his feet?
Allegedly, yeah.
Allegedly.
Yeah. No, I saw them. They were so swollen. I think, obviously that would be a factor, but I think they used it in the broadcast. It was a technical masterpiece. Volk's one of my favorites of all time. He's been such a beast. And at age 37 in a lower weight class, you just get worried about, them declining. And he just showed that it didn't matter that Lopez was younger, hit harder, just had, just the energy with him as the young neck. He just was smarter. He led the dance. He dictated where the fight went. I think, Lawrence, to your point, like when Lopez tried to speed it up because that would be an advantage Lopez, Volk was just able to control and get back to what Volk wanted to do. Lopez never controlled that fight. In the 25 minutes, it was Alexander Volkanovski for the absolute majority of it. Lopez did drop him, I think, in that third round. He hit him with something short, and Volk dropped, but he recovered immediately. Scared me for a split second there, but yeah, he was leading the dance, and and still, baby, Alexander Volkanovski, man, what a legend. I think it's safe to say the greatest featherweight of all time. I think it's able to be submitted for sure.
Yeah, I want to see, not to shit on another UFC fighter, but I want to see him make the Hall of Fame as soon as he retires, as quick as Cowboy Cerrone did. Like I said, I'm not trying to say that Cowboy Cerrone didn't deserve to be in the Hall of Fame or anything, but but he didn't deserve to get in there as quick as he did. Now you talk about like what we were just talking about with the Bill Belichick thing last week. Now we're talking about like the speed in which process has to be made. Hey, the moment Volkanovski says, "All right, I'm hanging up my cleats," or sorry, I'm hanging up my gloves. All right, let's get him in the Hall of Fame. He's a Hall of Famer. It's immediate. It's like a It's got to happen the next day because Mans has made the featherweight division look like it hasn't since Aldo.
Absolutely agree. I will also say, like, the one last weekend when Dominic Cruz just got announced into the Hall of Fame. A, he had no idea, and I love it when they do that because it kind of makes it special. And B, he didn't fight at all last year, so he's been retired. He's been inactive. I know he had a last fight and then he got hurt and had to pull out, but that happened in 24. So I think the UFC intentionally tries to like wait it out to surprise them. And Volk would be a guy that if he retires, then you just hang out for a little bit, and then 9 months later, when you go back to Sydney or you go back to Perth, you say, "Hey, Volk, come on out, man. Hey, we'll have you as a celebrity guy. You can sit front row." And of course, Volk will say yes because he's the man. And then while he's sitting there front row, you do like a nice little video tribute, and you announce him in the Hall of Fame. He has no idea. Because I agree with you, like he deserves to be in the second he puts the gloves down. But I do love it when the UFC kind of like tricks them almost and just like has them there, and then eventually, they do that announcement. And I think it's really cool for the fans and for the fighter itself.
Yep.
But legend, Volkanovski, man, keep going. Don't stop anytime soon.
Yeah, you're not 40 yet.
Keep it going. We want to see you keep fighting until you can't fight anymore.
Yeah, we want to see you fighting until what's his name? Was it Miller?
Oh, Jim Miller.
Yeah, we want to see you getting Jim Miller years.
I don't want to see Jim. I don't want to see that. As long as he keeps winning. Once he starts losing and he doesn't have it anymore, that's when you hang him up. But I think Jim Miller's got like 53 fights. Like I don't need him to fight until he's. I don't need to see the wheels fall off that hard.
Well,
not for my goat.
Shout out to the champ. Still the champ. Shout out to him. Anything else before we head on out? I know we didn't cover the Royal Rumble this past weekend, but I was honestly pretty disappointed. It was bad. Lawrence, I don't know if you watched it, if you had any thoughts, but that's all. That's my takeaway. I don't want to get too much into it. It was bad.
I know that Roman Reigns won. I didn't watch the actual Royal Rumble itself. I did see some clips. And the sad thing is, like, the most memorable clip of it was Logan Paul making fun of the green suit guy being across from where he normally is. Like, if that's like the best entertaining content you kind of came out of your Rumble, I don't know, man. It's not really good. It's not saying well.
It's not good. It's not boding well, especially with WrestleMania a couple months away. We got Roman Reigns once again headlining, and
I think it's just the same old thing, man.
He said it on McAfee how he didn't like how he was basically part-timing for 2 years and Triple H didn't bring up any new stars. I mean, we're just now seeing, Evans and Oba starting into the mix, but that's not enough, man. I think Roman's right. You can't keep relying on the old heads to keep the ship going,
Mm-hmm. Agreed.
So I'll leave it at that. But shout out to our tribal chief for winning the Royal Rumble. Shout out to Liv Morgan for winning the women's Royal Rumble. She deserves it. Well deserved. But yeah, this does not bode well. Not at all. Jacob, I don't know if you have anything else. Any MLB?
No, I would say shout out random one to DeAndre Hunter. I know we just said he got traded, but UVA Cavaliers legend, 2019. NCAA champion. So we didn't touch on him much going to the Kings, but shout out to my boy, former UVA Cavalier.
Shout out DeAndre Hunter. And with that, we're going to end the episode 214, Sideline Podcast. We will see you later this week, guys. Peace.